Welcome, everyone. Tonight, we delve into a story that lingers in the shadows of local legends. It's the tale of Sarah, a girl who just wanted to belong, and the night her desire pulled her into a terrifying reality. Sarah was always a new kid. Arriving in Oak Haven, she was determined to break the cycle of being an outsider. At Northwood High, she quickly met a popular group, Jake, Chloe, and Liam. They invited her into their circle, and for the first time, Sarah felt like she belonged. But there were red flags. Their jokes were sometimes cruel, and they were fascinated with the abandoned Grandview Mall, rumored to be haunted and a place where people had disappeared. One night, at Jake's house, they brought out drinks. Chloe insisted Sarah try Jake's special mix. Despite her hesitation, Sarah gave in to the pressure. The sweet taste masked the alcohol, and soon her head was spinning. She laughed easily, her inhibitions melting away. The night grew hazy. Then, the idea of the Grandview Mall came up. Sarah giggled, asking if they were going now. Her friends insisted. Somehow, she found herself being led to Jake's car, the outside world distorted. They arrived at the dark, ominous Grandview Mall, its boarded-up windows like empty eyes. Sarah, confused, asked what they were doing there. Jake said it would be an epic tour, and Chloe called her scaredy cat. They helped her out of the car. She stumbled as they led her to a heavy service door that creaked open ominously. The air that rushed out was cold and stale, carrying the scent of dust and decay. Inside, the darkness was profound, broken only by the dim glow of their phone screens. The vast space of the mall felt unsettling. Empty storefronts lined deserted corridors. The silence was heavy. Sarah, her voice echoing, begged him to leave, feeling sick and scared. Jake stopped, turning with a strange look. "You're fitting in, Sarah," he said. Chloe added, "You're finally one of us." Liam stepped closer, his eyes intense, and uttered the words that chilled her. "You're never leaving." Sarah stared, her blood cold. Their smiles didn't reach their eyes. There was something cruel in their expressions. Fear pierced through her. Terrified, she asked what they were doing. Jake explained it was a little initiation. Chloe added that she'd have the whole mall to yourself, with plenty of time to think about our friendship. Liam concluded, "Forever." Before Sarah could react, they grabbed her, dragging her toward the heavy metal door. She screamed, pleading to be let go. Her cries echoed, swallowed by the dead mall. They shoved her into the room, the air thick with mold and dust. The heavy door slammed shut. It sounded like a death knell. She heard the click of a lock, and then silence. Sarah was alone, completely alone. The darkness in the room was impenetrable. The smell of damp and decay filled her lungs. Panic washed over her. She stumbled, her hands trembling as she felt the door, but it was unmoving. Her throat ached from screaming, and the echo of her own voice terrified her. Her phone, she fumbled for it. The screen showed no signal, no way to call anyone. The battery was low. Terror intensified. She was trapped. The room was small and oppressive, a suffocating cube of darkness. No windows. She sank to the floor, back against the door, tears streaming down her face. She couldn't believe it. Her friends. How could they do this? Hours dragged by, agonizingly slow. Fear kept her awake, every distant creak, every shifting shadow making her jump. Finally, desperation pushed her move. She had to find a way out. Phone in hand, using its weak light, she opened the door and stepped into the mall corridor. The air was the same, cold, stale. The mall was a labyrinth of dark corridors and empty storefronts. Shadows danced with every step, twisting familiar objects into grotesque figures. She tried store doors, all locked. She searched for main exits, but they were sealed shut. The place was a tomb. As she moved, sounds began. First subtle, a distant scratching, like claws on concrete. A whisper, so faint she wasn't sure if she'd imagined it. Sarah, who never believed in ghosts, felt a chill unrelated to the cold. Logic told her it was just the building settling, the wind, but something in her gut screamed otherwise. She reached the old food court. Tables and chairs lay toppled, covered in dust. Here, the air felt even denser, thick with an ominous stillness. And then she saw them, not clearly, but as flashes, shapes in her peripheral vision. A tall, thin shadow sliding behind a food stall. A pair of red eyes watching her from a darkened store. These weren't ethereal ghosts. They were presences, beings that moved with unnatural slowness, emanating a cold that seeped into her bones. Infernal. Sarah froze, her heart hammering. She blinked, rubbing her eyes, convinced exhaustion and fear were playing tricks. Was she dreaming? Was this a nightmare? She pinched herself, felt nothing. Reality blurred. She ran through the corridors, desperate. Her phone's weak light bouncing everywhere. Sounds followed her. Footsteps not her own. Whispers taunting her name. She hid in a toy store. There, she saw one clearly. A twisted figure with elongated limbs and a head tilted at an impossible angle. It moved with spasms, an inarticulate horror crawling through the aisles. Her breath caught. They weren't ghosts. They were something else. Something that shouldn't exist. The mall wasn't just abandoned. It was occupied. She tried various emergency exits, each blocked. Desperation mingled with hallucination. She saw faces in wall cracks, heard children's laughter from the empty food court. The line between real and unreal vanished. Sarah's phone finally died, plunging the mall into absolute darkness. She screamed, her voice lost in the vastness. She crawled, stumbling over debris. She could feel the being's presence. She knew they were close, watching her. When the first gray light filtered through cracks in the ceiling, Sarah felt no relief, only a freezing terror. She knew she hadn't escaped. She hadn't found the exit. Reality hadn't returned. Sarah's story became a chilling tale in Oakhaven, a whispered warning about the darkness that sometimes hides behind the kindest smiles. Her disappearance remains an unsolved mystery, an enigma shrouded in the decaying silence of the Grandview Mall. And as the overgrown weeds slowly reclaim the building's exterior, some say if you listen closely on a windy night, you can still hear the echo of her desperate screams, trapped forever in the desolation of the dead mall. The true monsters aren't just in the dark, but in the people we trust. And some mysteries, like hers, are never meant to be solved. If you found yourself lost in the chilling atmosphere of this tale, and want to explore more narratives that blur the lines of reality, then join our community of horror enthusiasts. Subscribe now, and let's face the unknown together. What fears lie hidden in your own hometown? Tell us in the comments below. And remember, the night is long, and there's always something watching.